My name is Vivian, and I never imagined that the person I loved more than anything in the world could betray me. For years, I had believed that I knew him completely. He was kind, loving, always so attentive. He was my best friend, my soulmate, the man I had trusted with my heart. But nothing in this world could prepare me for the shock I would experience one fateful evening. It all started when we got married. We were a perfect couple, or so I thought. We shared everything, dreams, fears, secrets. Andrew was always there for me. I trusted him with everything I had, and I thought our love would never fade. But over time, something began to change. I noticed the small things at first. His gaze would wander when we were together. He wasn't as present as he used to be. He would come home later and later, and when I asked him about his day, his answers felt rehearsed, distant. I didn't want to believe it. I kept telling myself that it was just stress at work, or that he was tired from all the responsibilities of life. I never questioned him. I never suspected that he could be hiding something from me. He had always been so honest, so open with me. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt like there was a piece of him slipping away, something I couldn't touch or fix. Then one night, it all came crashing down. It was a Friday, and Andrew had promised me we would have a quiet evening together. We hadn't had much time for ourselves lately, what with his increasing work schedule and my own growing responsibilities. I looked forward to it. We hadn't been close in a while, and I missed the man I married. But when he came home, it wasn't with the warmth and affection I had been hoping for. He seemed distracted, distant, almost like he didn't want to be there. He barely acknowledged me when he entered the house, and that was the first crack I noticed. My heart sank. I tried to start a conversation, but he gave me short answers, distracted by something I couldn't see. I tried to brush it off. Maybe he was just tired. But when he went to the bathroom, I found his phone lying on the kitchen counter. I had never snooped before, but something in me told me to look this time. I don't know why. I just felt it. I picked up the phone and unlocked it. I never imagined I would find what I did. Messages, texts, pictures. I scrolled through the conversation, my heart racing in my chest. There, in black and white, was the truth. He had been seeing someone else. The realization hit me like a punch in the gut. I felt numb. I didn't know what to do or what to feel. I kept reading, hoping I was wrong, hoping I was imagining things. But it was all there. His words to her, his plans with her, the intimacy that was supposed to be mine. It didn't make sense. It couldn't be true. This wasn't the man I had married. This wasn't the man I had trusted. I could hear him coming back down the stairs, and I quickly put the phone back where it was, trying to steady my breath, trying to control the wave of emotions that were crashing over me. When he entered the room, I could barely look at him. I didn't know where to start. How do you confront someone with something so devastating? How do you even begin to understand that the life you thought you had built was all a lie? I turned to him, and the words came out in a whisper. "Who is she?" He froze. His face paled, and his eyes quickly darted to the floor. I saw it. The guilt, the shame, the fear. I couldn't breathe. It felt like the room was closing in on me. "Vivian, it's not what you think. Please let me explain," he started. But there was no explanation. Not really. The truth was there, and it couldn't be undone. He had betrayed me in the most painful way. I stood there, feeling my heart break with every passing second. I had loved him with everything I had. I had trusted him completely. And now everything was shattered. "You need to leave," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, but with more conviction than I had ever known. He begged me to listen, but I couldn't. I couldn't stand to be in the same room with him anymore. My heart was too heavy, my mind too clouded by the pain. He left that night, and I was left alone in a house that no longer felt like a home. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't stop crying. I felt empty. How had I not seen it coming? How had I ignored the signs? I felt like I was drowning, like I had lost everything. Every moment we shared, every plan we made, it all seemed meaningless now. As the days passed, I began to think about everything. About all the times he had been distant, all the small moments that I had brushed off, convincing myself they didn't matter. I started to question myself. Was I too busy? Was I too distracted? Could I have done something differently? I couldn't fix what was broken. I couldn't change the past. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that maybe, just maybe, it was better this way. I deserved more than a lie. I deserved more than a man who could betray me so easily. Months went by, and the pain became more bearable. I still missed him sometimes, and I still felt the sting of betrayal, but I began to rebuild. Slowly, piece by piece, I learned to trust myself again. I learned that the most important thing in a relationship is not just love, it's trust. Without that, nothing else matters. I had to let him go, and in doing so, I let go of the dream I had built around him. It wasn't easy. There were moments when I missed him so much that it hurt. But I knew I couldn't go back. I couldn't forgive him, not yet. Maybe someday, but not now. I had to move on, for my own sake. I had to learn to love myself again. Did you like today's story? So, leave your like and subscribe to continue watching the channel's videos. Until the next story.